Well, we had to know this was going to happen. It's about that time that we address the Hebrew doctrine in Bible study. We're not done with Christianity. We got a little ways to go. But let's take some time and address this Hebrew doctrine and go through some things. Hopefully this information gets to the people who need it. The only thing that matters to me here is the truth. I said in all the Bible studies that I'm not here to change or convert nobody to nothing. I'm just here to show and present truth. If you hate the truth, that's on you. But everything that I do and everything that I say in Bible study comes from where? The Bible. Now, what they will tell you is they will refer you to Revelations chapter 1, verse 14. So let's go there. Let's read what it says. Let's start in verse 13. And in the midst of the seven candles, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. His eyes were as a flame of fire. His feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. And his voice as the sound of many waters. Verse 16, and he had in his right hand 7 stars. And out of the mouth went a sharp two-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength. Let's break that down. Verse 13. He did not say he saw Jesus. He did not say he saw the Son of Man. He said he saw one like unto the Son of Man, meaning he saw someone who looked like the Son of Man. So we can't be, this is the Bible, right? So if they wanted to say he saw the Son of Man, why put in there one like unto the Son of Man? That goes back to earlier Bible studies where we talked about was Jesus Christ and did Jesus die? It ties in because if this man is saying he saw one that looked like Jesus, we can't be sure if it was Jesus or not. Now let's go to verse 14. It said his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. Immediately after, the leader Hebrew will say that verse says that he had white woolly hair. Don't the Bible say don't add or take away from the Bible? Because the Bible don't say that. So with that being said, it says that his head, and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. Just in case you didn't understand what they meant by white as wool, it reiterates that it is as white as snow. Okay? So with that being said, this is what it says. This is a head. A head consists of the body part from the neck up. This is the neck. This is a head. Okay? This is hair. Okay? So when it said his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. You can't get past that. So every time when you hear a Hebrew say, "Oh, the Bible says he had white woolly hair," they cannot show you that in the Bible. Once I debunk that part, they say, "Well, what about verse 15?" Verse 15 says, "And his feet like unto fine brass." Now the first thing they're gonna say is, "Well, what color is brass?" Right? They say brass is brown. And it says, "As if they burned in a furnace." So if you burn something, it's black, right? If his feet were black, which it does not say that his feet were black, and I'm about to prove that, why would you want to be the feet? If it says that the head is white, why would you want to be at the bottom? Do you see the symbology in this? You got a white head and you got black feet on the bottom. I mean, isn't that symbolic of society today? You got the white at the head and you got the black at the bottom. That don't make no sense. That don't compute to me as a favorable doctrine for black people. We ain't no feet. Let's look at the Greek connotations of that verse. It says, like unto fine brass, right? That word brass in Greek is kalibana. That is Strong's G5474. And in Strong's G5474, it tells you that that in the implied means, it is referring to the whiteness or brilliancy of the brass, in the shine of the brass. Do you see, do you see the light that shines off of my bald head? What color is that? Is it brown? Is it black? It's actually white, ain't it? That is what it is referring to. And when it's talking about the brass being burned in a furnace, in the Strong's, it is G4448. And that word in the Greek is purao. And that word means to glow. And it is implying, it is what is implied in that word, in that connotation of that verse, is the refining process. Refined brass, when you polish brass or burnish brass, you're polishing it. And in that process, you are creating friction. And in creating that friction, you're creating heat. So what John is trying to explain, what he saw, was that this man's feet were so bright, so shiny, so white, that it looked like the heat that was the friction, the heat that was built up through the friction was so hot that it was like the heat of a furnace, of a fiery furnace. It has nothing to do with setting anything on fire and burning anything black. It just don't. Y'all Hebrews like to say, oh, you got to know the Greek and you got to know the Hebrew. Try to play these semantics on people. You're deceiving people. Sometimes you brothers can really seem sincere, but at the end of the day, man, you're wrong. In verse 16, it talks about his countenance being shiny, being as shiny as the sun. Bright, man. That's bright. Come on, man. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real, man. Now let's move forward. Let's go to Genesis 25 and 25. You say Esau was white because it says he was ruddy. He was, let's just say red. It says he was red and hairy, right? So what do? You put up a redhead white boy and you say, see, y'all red and hairy, right? Genesis 25 and 25. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. And after that came out his brother. You guys called Esau white because it says here that he's red. Okay. That's cool. Well, let's go to 1 Samuel. Chapter 16. Verse 12 reads, and he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and godly to look to. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for it is he. Talking about David. Ruddy means red. Now we just seen Esau was red, David was red. All right, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 42. Samuel 17:42 says, and when the Philistine looked about and saw David and disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of fair countenance. He was red. He was red, just like Esau. So if Esau was white, David was white. But we ain't going to stop there. Let's go to the Songs. Let's go to Songs of Solomon. Songs of Solomon, chapter 5. Now I'm about to show you that Solomon was also white. Chapter 5, verse 10 through 15. Finna read through this. It says, my beloved is white and ruddy.
The chiefest among 10,000. His head is as the most fine gold. His locks are bushy and black as a raven. His eyes are as the eyes of doves by the rivers of waters, washed with milk and fitly set.
His eyes are as doves by the rivers of water. Water reflects the sky, which is blue.
Cheeks are as a bed of spices, as sweet flowers. His lips like lilies, dropping sweet-smelling myrrh.
Lilies. Lilies come pink, lilies come white. So his lips are either pink or white.
His hands are as gold rings set with the beryl. His belly is as bright ivory overlaid with sapphire.
White. Ivory.
His legs are as pillars of marble.
White.
Upon sockets of fine gold.
Verse 15 finishes, it says, his countenance is as Lebanon, excellent as cedars. Lebanon, it is referring to whiteness. Whiteness. It is referring to the mountains, the snow on the tip of a mountain. That is exactly what it's talking about when it's referring to Lebanon. Solomon was white. Solomon chapter 5 verse 10 through 15 proves this, all right? Now, they don't talk about that. Now, you don't think they seen that? You don't think they seen that when it's talking about my beloved is white and ruddy? They're not going to tell you that. Why? Because they're playing games, man. This is a game for them. They're just trying to get as many people in their gang as possible. That's all this is about. This ain't about love for black people. They're just trying to get their numbers up. Just build a gang. I mean, this stuff came out of nowhere, man. All this stuff is lies. They tell you Solomon 1 and 5. I am black but comely. Well, let's listen. Because I'm going to tell them that that's a woman talking. Verse 2, she says, let him kiss me with the kisses of his lips. What is she talking about? Let's listen.
The kisses of his mouth. For thy love is better than wine. Because of the savor of thy good ointments, thy name is an ointment poured forth. Therefore do the virgins love thee. Draw me, we will run after thee. The king hath brought me into his chambers. We will be glad and rejoice in thee. We will remember thy love more than wine. The upright love thee. I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun hath looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They knew me the people of the vineyard.
That's a woman talking. That's a woman talking. Now, I don't rest my case just yet. Line upon line, precept upon precept. Jeremiah 8:21 says, for the hurt of the daughter of my people, I am hurt. I am black. Astonishment hath taken hold on me. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2, and break it down. It says, Judah mourneth, and the gate thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Judah mourneth. Judah mourneth is speaking of the city, the people of the city, right? They are mourning. The gates thereof languish. That word gates in the Hebrew is sha'ar, which means the city. The city languish. Judah mourning. The city languish. The whole city. All right. It says they are black unto the ground. It's not talking about the people. It's not talking about the color of the people's skin. It's speaking on the entire city is black. The entire city is mourning. All right? Because the next thing it says, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. It is speaking of the continents of the people. All right? That word black in the Hebrew, according to Strong's 86937, is a verb. All right? It's not a pronoun. It's not describing anybody. It is a verb. All right? Anytime you see the word black in the Bible or somebody describing themselves as black, they are of a low countenance. They are mourning. Okay? They're sad. They're down. They're depressed. And the way they describe this feeling is black. Just like when you go to a funeral. What do people wear to a funeral? Black. Okay? That is the implication of this word, according to the Strong's 86937. The implication is to mourn. Okay? The Brown, Driver, and Briggs definition of black means to mourn or to be dark. Okay? That's why it says black unto the ground. Speaking of the whole city, everybody is just down. Jeremiah is referred to as the weeping prophet. Okay? Weeping, depressed, black, mourning, dark. Now, to the last stop of this video that will perpetuate us into our next segment of the Hebrew Israelite doctrine. We're going to stop at Deuteronomy chapter 28. And let's get to it. 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. This is another game. This is another semantics game. They say Egypt means bondage. No, it don't. According to what? Where do you get that from? Egypt does not mean bondage. Let's look at the definition of Egypt. Egypt comes from the French Egypte, which comes from the Greek Aegyptos. Aegyptos came from the Greek Hekupta, which means the temple of the Ka of Ptah. The temple of the soul of Ptah has nothing to do with America. Where do you get that from, that America is Egypt? What are you talking about? You're making stuff up, man. Not only that, but you have no physical evidence that black people came to America on ships. You have literally no physical evidence of this. All you have is white lies about how we came to be on this continent. That's all you have. You ain't got no proof of no ship. You ain't. Period. So with that being said, peace and light, man, to the gods and the goddesses, man. One love.